hustle.
Greetings, and welcome to the live. Greetings and welcome to the live. Happy Friday. Welcome to the live. Happy Friday. Glad you're here. Welcome to the live. Welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome to the live. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the hidden force of self-hate and how it keeps empaths trapped in narcissistic abuse. The hidden force of self-hate and how greetings, let the opportunities in. Greetings, I'm glad you're on the West Coast. Hopefully everything is okay in Los Angeles. All things considered, right? All things considered. So today we're going to be talking about the hidden force of self-hate, how it keeps empaths trapped in narcissistic abuse, right? This is what we're going to be talking about today. How self-hate keeps you trapped in narcissistic abuse, right? This is what we're going to be talking about today. So if you've been through narcissistic abuse, you've ever experienced narcissistic abuse, you've observed it, this live is for you. The hidden force of self-hate and how it keeps empaths trapped in narcissistic abuse. This is the story. This is what we're going to be talking about today. You see? So this is what it's about. Welcome. Glad you're here today. So glad you're here. And again, for those who are just joining, we're talking about the hidden force of self-hate and how it keeps empaths trapped in narcissistic abuse. So, hey, hi, Brittany, welcome. Glad you're here. Happy Friday to you. So let's get started. For those who are just joining, we're talking about the hidden force. I'm glad you're coming out of the fog from your lifelong abuse, and you would understand why you did so and how this happened. So let me. It's a month too late. What do you mean it's a month too? Oh, okay. With all that, the rain. Oh, I see. In LA. I get it. So let's get into it. How the self-hate keeps us trapped in narcissistic abuse. So I'll start by saying this, that you've left the narcissist maybe once, maybe several times, right? Hi, Lady Promise. And despite all of this, you find yourself drawn to the same kind of person, the same toxic dynamics, right? The same cycle of hope, betrayal, and pain. And if I told you this, that the real reason why you are stuck in all of this isn't them, isn't the narcissist, but you. So what if the real captor of your abuse isn't the narcissist, but it's this hidden force deep inside you, which is self-hate? And I'll give you a lot of evidence for this, because we're going to break this down today from a psychological perspective, from a neuroscience perspective, and then also borrow information to spiritual wisdom. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So let's start with understanding what self-hate is. Self-hate is not just about feeling bad about yourself, right? I know with ChatGPT can be really great. It can be really great. But self-hate is not just about feeling bad about yourself. Self-hate is this unconscious belief system that tells you over and over again that you are unworthy of love, peace, and respect. Let me say it again. Hey, welcome everybody. Self-hate is not just about feeling bad about yourself. It's a subconscious belief that tells you over and over again that you are unworthy of love, peace, and respect. So I'll give you some evidence. There's a man called Dr. Aaron Beck. He created cognitive behavioral therapy, and he discovered that people with a negative self-schema unconsciously filter the world through the lens of self-rejection. Yes, S-Dub, imposter syndrome is self-rejection. Let me say it again. People with a negative self-perception unconsciously filter the world through the lens of self-rejection. In other words, when something good happens, you distrust it. But when something bad happens, you say, yes, okay, now I can feel comfortable because life is hard and now I have the evidence. This is why empaths fall for narcissists or stay with narcissists. Because when a narcissist love bombs you, your brain doesn't believe it. But when they devalue and discard you, that feels like home. Because that's what your nervous system understands, Bob, the therapist. I know, exotic, chic. Now, there was a study in 2015 in the Social and Cognitive Neuroscience Journal that found that chronic self-criticism activates the same brain regions with physical pain. Meaning, self-hate is not just emotional. I'm glad it's making sense, kept outcome. It's not just emotional. Self-hate is a form of neurological self-harm. And also, this is because your brain is wired to repeat what is familiar. So if suffering is familiar, you will seek it out, even if you don't realize it. Kept alchemy, you're kind and funny. And Lady Promise, what do you mean you're not staying? Tell us more, right? So from a Buddhist perspective, Mara, M-A-R-A, is the demon of illusion. And it is the voice of doubt that whispers to you, you are not enough. You are not enough. And when the Buddha reached enlightenment, for example, Mara didn't attack him physically. Mara attacked his mind, filling it with fear and loathing. But he knew it was an illusion. Mara, M-A-R-A. Mara means, Lady Promise, the demon of illusion. Also, from a Hindu perspective, there's this notion of ahamkara, which is this false identification with suffering. So when you see yourself as broken, suffering becomes your identity, right? And what do we do with our identity? We protect it. So if suffering is your identity, you will protect that suffering, especially unconsciously. And as the saying goes, if self-hate is the disease, narcissists are the parasites that feed on it. So when a narcissist can sense self-hate in you, they're like, perfect. That's my perfect victim. You see, there's a study that found that people with high self-criticism develop an addiction to external validation. So when you seek other people to validate you, which is what the narcissist does, but by extracting it viciously, right? Oh, thank you, Bob. We only suffer because we protect the minds of the hell. That's exactly right. And you're very kind. So if you have a lot of high self-critique and you seek external validation, this is prime messaging to the narcissist to exploit this by giving you enough approval so you stay hooked. This is the trap. This is how they get you on a spiritual slavery, right? And I'm going to get to the empowering part, but just bear with me. And I know when we talk about self-hate and because of your self-hate, you're attracted to a narcissist, people run away because accountability can be very tough. So this message is for those who are here. It's not for everyone. Welcome, Stina. This is the whole deal. The other reason why a narcissist keeps you trapped in this self-hate, which keeps you hooked in this narcissistic abuse, is trauma bonding and dopamine addiction. So again, there's research that shows that trauma bonding shows that the cycle of love bombing and abuse creates an addiction to dopamine highs and withdrawal lows. So those peaks and valleys create an addiction, just like one is addicted to chocolates or cocaine or something like that, right? And this reason for this addiction to the ups and downs is why a lot of us rejected healthy love. And this is from a polyvagal theoretical standpoint. If you're familiar with polyvagal theory, it states that your nervous system, when you are in this place, is conditioned for chaos, right? Your nervous system is conditioned for chaos. So calmness will feel threatening when your nervous system is conditioned for chaos, right? I'm from everywhere, New Hope. The earth is mine. I can go anywhere. I'm based in Seattle. And I'm a very African man. Very African. You see, so polyvagal theory is why you sabotage your own No, no, no. I love my Nigerian people. My Nigerian people sound like you want me to speak with an African accent? Come on. Let's get beyond these questions and focus on the big picture, right? So, your body has been programmed to believe that real love isn't safe. Exactly, Vicky. We're from everywhere because this is just an avatar. What you are is not who you think you are, Vicky. You know this. So, your body has been programmed to believe that real love isn't safe, particularly when you are in or coming out of this, right? When you're in it or coming out of this, right? So, this is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens. So this you begin to see things from this perspective, and you realize that you're programmed to see things from this standpoint. So it's important to realize that your release and freedom from narcissistic abuse begins by realizing that you will not be self-hated. Brittany, yesterday I was told that manifestation causes depression. I felt so good manifesting and shifting my timeline. How do I know that I'm not using manifestation as a form of escapism? Yes, manifestation without inspired action is wishful thinking. Manifestation without inspired action is wishful thinking. Hi, DJ. Thank you, Natalie. You're very kind. This is the whole story. RC wrote, the funny things our parents normalized this thinking and built this foundation. So I'm thinking it's a program. It's a program. They programmed us to be this way and think in this way, right? And this is what happens. So when you begin to wake up from narcissistic abuse, is to wake up from all the programs that were in your mind. And those programs are things that prevent you from walking into your glory. And this is why you are resonant to the narcissist and the narcissistic abuse, because the narcissist realizes that you need validation. The narcissist realizes that you don't see yourself as an empath, so you must be silly, right? And I think I used the word I wasn't supposed to use, so TikTok is restricting this live a little bit, but that's okay. We learn. We'll live and we learn. So this is what happens. And because you are in this place of self-doubt and thinking you're an imposter and not good enough, the narcissist is like, she or he or they can't see who they are, so let me take advantage, right? This is exactly what happens. And you begin to realize that you can shift. Exactly. Remember the commercial on our big TV that said we'll be back with our programming? It's all programming. You see? And believe in yourself. Manifestation without inspired action. Brittany, without inspired action. In other words, you just sit around and expect things to happen is good, but you need to take inspired action. And the reason why you fear to take inspired action is because you're in a place of self-loathing, imposter syndrome. You see, we can all be great. This is what happens. So when you begin to wake up from this, the narcissist can no longer control you. They don't have a grip on you anymore. And my dear brother, Kendrick Lamar says it best in this song. Let me just play this a little bit. You hear that? I got royalty in my DNA. What? Kendrick Lamar is telling you you've got royalty in your DNA. So when you have royalty in your DNA, how can you hate yourself? How can you hate yourself? The only reason why the narcissist is still around you in your life is because you don't like yourself. That's it. Let me just demystify all of this for you. Anytime a narcissist comes into your life, they're just revealing to you a part of yourself that you don't like. We're here to forget what we know, remember what we forgot. Pretty Shield, you are just too much. Kia, one love. That's the game. So the game is to always remember that you've got royalty in your DNA. That although you may have come from a line of generational trauma and curses, that some of your ancestors tried to do what you're doing now and they couldn't. That shows how royal you are. And your royalty is based on your ability to say, no, this stops with me. I am the black sheep, the scapegoat. This ends with me. You see, this is what it is. And when you wake up from this recognition that you are nothing and you are everything, no narcissist can control you. Because when you start to love yourself, it becomes very easy to recognize anything that doesn't feel like love or respect. When you don't love yourself, you accept everything, Kia. But when you start to love yourself, when somebody doesn't respect you, you're like, oh, no, that's not how I treat myself. Can't do that. And this is not from a place of ego. It comes from a place of self-appreciation and self-love. You see? And when you're in this place of self-appreciation and self-love, the only way the narcissist will try to get to you is to trigger you into a place of self-hate, because they can only be vibrationally resonant with you when you're in a place of self-hate. When you've eliminated your self-hate, there can't be any narcissist who comes to you. And this is what you probably wouldn't hear many places. But I'm here to tell you the truth as I see it and as I've experienced it and from my place of training. And it's important to realize that the hardest thing to do is to practice self-love. Because what is that? We know how to love other people because that's how we've been programmed to be. But when it comes to loving ourselves, we're like, what is that and how do I practice self-love? Well, think about all the things that you've done or you do for the people you love. And rather than doing it for them, do it for you. In other words, speak to yourself kindly. Treat yourself nicely. No abusive words of thoughts to yourself. And embrace yourself. Nurture yourself. Celebrate yourself. Tell yourself you are enough. And accept and embrace yourself as you are. I don't care what your body looks like, what your hair looks like, as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I like this. I like me. I like me. If somebody doesn't like it, what does it matter? You see, I really have to laugh these days. So bored and unbothered and not an unlimited mindset. This is when you wake up, you just see the game, Pretty Shield. You see it. So when you're in a place of affirming yourself for yourself and loving yourself, nobody can reach you. No narcissist, no toxic person can reach you. And this is why very early in your life, you were programmed not to love and like yourself and see yourself for the amazing person that you are. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the whole game. This is the whole game. That when you start to love yourself and treat yourself like royalty, like Kendrick Lamar just said, the narcissist begins to see your royalty and realize that they are not that. And you finally know it. And that is what frees you from any kind of spiritual slavery. I'm telling you, this narcissist want to keep you trapped because they need that supply. They need that supply from you. They need you to be in a place of self-loathing. They need you to be in a place of self-doubt. They need you to a place of thinking you're an imposter. They need you to be in a place of a poverty mindset. They need you to be in a place of self-rejection. They need you to be in a place of fragmentation. Greetings are on me too, blessed. They need you to be in these negative vibrations because the only way they can reach you is because they are in those negative vibrations, because a narcissist lives in a permanent hell. And they want you to join them there. Do you want to join them there? Do you want to join them in hell? Because that's what they want. You see, that's what they want. So when you start to validate yourself for yourself by saying, I'm going to love myself today by spending some time in the bath and taking a spiritual bath. I'm going to love myself today by giving myself a facial. I'm going to love myself today by going for a walk and speaking to the trees, Pretty Shield. Exactly. I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to do my yoga today. I'm going to smile at the barista when I go to the store. I'm going to watch my thoughts and say good things to myself. Why were you confused all the time, Trey Slay? I love your name, by the way, Trey Slay, K Slay. Why were you? Because you were confused all the time, because this is on purpose. The narcissist does this to keep you under control. Because when you're clear, they can't get to you. Hey, Tammy, Brittany, well, what do you mean no? What happened? This is what happens, right? I'm talking to hummingbirds. I love it. Busy doing good things intentionally. I love this. Is exactly the business, because you are what you do. And whatever you think, you become. So if you think I'm an imposter, you will seek evidence you're an imposter. Oh, of course, you don't want to be in hell, Brittany. Why would you want to be in hell? I'm loving myself and doing all the positive things, Lady Promise. And I'm telling you, Lady Promise, this is not about acting like you just read something off a bumper stick. It's about embodying it and living it. You get what I'm saying? And when you begin to embody it, nobody can touch you. No narcissist, no evil, no demon, no monitoring spirit. But it's very difficult for the average person to find self-love, because we are not conditioned to be self-loving, Vicky. We are not conditioned to look at anything within. We're conditioned to look at everything outside, that this is the real world. So when you look at everything outside, you neglect what's within. They threw you out because you wanted to give them water. This is what they do. This is what they do, Stina. So when you wake up from this, you realize that nobody can touch you. Hi, FYI. And the only way narcissistic abuse happens is not because the narcissist is a genius, it's because you are conditioned to be in a place of self-hate. Sonic Pollock always diminishing me, blame me for everything, finally divorce him. It's so hard with 2 toddlers. Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm so sorry to hear this. And I can't imagine what pain, but hopefully celebration that you're going through. You see, this is the whole deal. The whole deal is that when you wake up from abuse, you're not afraid to move on, because staying in that narcissistic abuse is to stay in hell. And the narcissist is not going to give up on you until you start to embrace self-love. The best and fastest way to release a narcissist from your energetic sphere is to begin to affirm for yourself, I am enough. I am worthy. Of course, it's going to be lonely, Aaron, me too. And you got to cry. Crying is purging. It's just like some people will find out they vomit things and they can't eat the things they used to eat, because you are a new being. You embody a new name. You remember, you come from a history where you didn't like yourself. And although it feels lonely, Brittany, you are not alone. It's lonely because you're looking with your physical eyes and there seems to be nobody around you who can relate. And when you go within you, you realize that you are not alone. You have a spirit team and you're with the divine all the time. And the divine is always watching even the thought that says, I am alone, witch master. Power corrupts, and with power real and magic comes narcissism. You got it. And narcissism comes from a place of insignificance. One doesn't win with those who don't see you as a person, not a thing. That's exactly it, Cassie. I decided to walk away from a narcissistic relationship with $3 at a time. Best decision of my life. Kia, you've been through it. I get it, Kia. And it's very difficult to explain this until you've done it. Because the trick of the narcissist is to make you feel that leaving them is worse than to stay with them. So a lot of people just stay on because they're just afraid to leave. That's like the elephant that was released from the zoo, but years later, it keeps walking around in circles like it did when it was in a cage, even though it's no longer in the cage. You know, prison is a mindset. Spiritual slavery is a mind and emotional state, Pretty Shield. And once you give it to the Creator, He will send your people. And your people, Pretty Shield, will not find you until you're in the same place of resonance with them, which is a place of love. New Hope, do you have room for a psychiatric MP in your office? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. I'm getting confused by your questions. RC Rope, had to go sit by myself for months. Exactly. That's exactly it. And in the spiritual tradition, that's called being in hermit mode, right? This is what it's about. When you're in a place of being in a hermit mode, that's how you develop a deeper relationship with yourself. Because you cannot ascend to the next level of your spiritual gifts without having a relationship with yourself, right? Lord RC, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. How can I forgive my father when I believe he caused my mother to drink herself to an early grave? Oh, it's very simple. Because so long as you're in a place of wishing for him recrimination or karma, you are in the same hell that he lives in. And so the way you accelerate karma for your father who caused your mother to kill herself with alcohol is to be in a place of forgiveness. Is to be in a place of forgiveness, Lord RC. And forgiveness, unconditional forgiveness, does not require reconciliation. It is embodying unconditional forgiveness, which is an act of self-love that accelerates the karma for the narcissist. Because imagine you are wishing the narcissist evil and they are wishing you evil. That's why bad things would happen. But if the narcissist wishes you evil and you wish them peace, there's a boomerang effect that your good feelings come back to you and their negative feelings go back to them. This is the science of forgiveness, Lord RC. Let me know if I answered your question bluntly. Or if I didn't, let me know. This is what it's about. I know, Brittany, being in hermit mode feels anti-human. But let me tell you why it feels anti-human. Because when you wake up from narcissistic abuse, you realize that the whole world has experienced a kind of narcissistic abuse, and many who are not even narcissists develop narcissistic traits. And how can you engage with people who exhibit narcissistic traits that you can see because you can see behind the veil? You see, waking up from narcissistic abuse also wakes you up to the nature of reality as we experience it. The veil gets lifted, which is why you can see the narcissism in people, which is why you refuse to engage, because people are angry and toxic. So they're going to project onto you. You see, how do you alleviate guilt and shame? Oh, New Hope, that's a wonderful question. Guilt and shame are programs. It's a trap. And what's the opposite of guilt? What's the opposite of shame? And when you use the law of polarity says that if one condition is present, that its opposite can be true as well. In other words, poverty is a precondition for wealth. Darkness enables light to shine. That men and women, negative, positive, up, down. So you alleviate guilt and shame by beginning to confirm the opposite. Guilt and shame are forms of self-hate. So if whatever you're guilty about or feeling shame about, let's say it's your body, you begin to tell yourself, I love my body as it is and I accept it as it is. That, when you're in this place of acceptance and gratitude, there's no way to feel guilt and shame. And it might take a while until you believe it, but you keep affirming it and eventually becomes your reality. If I may, please go watch The War Room or listen to Room to Breathe. Okay, pretty sure you're making some recommendations. This is what it's about. I don't mean to. After the storm, I feel like I'm going back to my original self, literally. I never want to go back. This is what happens. When you wake up from blindness and you can see with your third eye, how can you go back to being an NPC or going back to sleep again? It won't happen. It will not happen. And this is what happens when you really wake up, right? You really wake up. And so it's important to realize that your self-identity is what either keeps you trapped in abuse or releases you from it. So the question I would ask you all, and particularly this was triggered by New Hope for you too, is what is your self-perception? How do you see yourself? I'm asking you now. I'm glad, Lawrence, this was good. Ask yourself the question, how do I see myself really and truly? And wait for the answer. And in the answer, are you seeing yourself as whole and abundant? Or are you seeing yourself as not good enough and not enough? Because whatever you answer to yourself about how you see yourself is how the others will see you. Yes, the author of The Alchemist is Paolo Coelho, Brazilian. Paulo, Paulo, Coelho, Coelho. Coelho. Aramiti, I'm sensitive and I like it. Yes, I'm whole the way I am. You don't need anything or anyone to tell you anything different. And our parents knew that we would be great. And we had something they didn't have, or our caregivers, which is why they programmed us to just give, do for others. That's the trick and the trap. The trick and the trap is to get into your mind and think you are lesser than, so it makes these narcissists more comfortable, because the narcissists are deeply broken. And deeply broken people need other broken people to feel whole temporarily. You see, a truly enlightened person or a person in self-love doesn't need to break anybody. For what? But the narcissists need other people for self-regulation. This is what they do. Oh, I feel like I can't trust anyone anymore but me with it, particularly your peace of mind. Because your peace of mind is your responsibility. And protecting your peace of mind is also your responsibility. In the same way you have drones protecting the borders, you must protect your mind from anything, any place, or anybody that makes you feel other than your true self-concept rooted in your heart, not ego. So if you begin to value yourself, if you're in a situation where you're not valued, because of self-respect, you're not going to stick around. It's simple. The old self would have stuck around because you would make excuses for the other people and think that they're better than you, so just stick around. But when you start to like yourself, when somebody doesn't like you, you pick up on it, and you're not going to stick around that. When somebody doesn't love you, you're not going to stick around that. You see? Oh, thank you, Aramita. You're so kind. You're so kind. This is what it's about. And Lancy, I'm glad it helped. Forgive, blood. Forgive your father, man. I know he's evil and he did what he did, Lancy, but just forgive. Because when you forgive, you are free. You are no longer in hell. Forgiveness is strength. Self-acceptance is strength. Self-love takes courage. Hating people requires cowardice. That's it. Manipulating people requires cowardice. Gaslighting people requires cowardice. Destroying people is the highest act of a weak, cowardly person. But you, as an agent of the divine, only brings love. This is why you're hated, because you're in a world surrounded by victims who are hurt. Hurt people hurt other people who become hurt, who hurt other people who become hurt, who hurt other people who become hurt, and on and on and on and on and on. That's the game. This is why self-hate is what keeps you attached to narcissistic abuse. So anytime you attract a narcissist, the first thing to ask yourself is, why did this happen? And which part of myself am I hating or rejecting that allowed this to happen? Whether it's a date or a friend or a colleague or a job or a neighbor, the moment you begin to ask yourself this question, that's what you begin to find out. Greetings to all who are joining. You see, again, I said this live has been restricted because I used the word I wasn't supposed to use, I guess, but I'm learning. So anyway, we are where we are. So this is what happens. This is what happens. That when you're in a place of unconscious self-hating, oh, you're a prime target for these narcissists. That's why they keep appearing in your life. You see, I'm so scared of my gifts because I don't want to be seen as a threat. I want to be like love and light. That's the trap. Be yourself and be seen as a threat, because you are a threat. You're a threat to darkness, exotic cheek. Don't you see the game? And the fact that you are afraid is the trap, so you don't express your throat chakra. As you say, love takes courage. Don't let these demons entrap you in fear. Don Marie, what it is. Veronica, exactly. Pretty sure I've stopped all that through they were entitled to my light. I went home only 2 years after. Yes, because narcissists will feel entitled to your light. And anybody who wants to get their voice in here, just hit the request and we can get some voices in here. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, right? Pretty Shield, being the most beautiful piece in my life. What's your secret, Pretty Shield? We want to hear from you. You've got a lot to say because you've been through a lot of crap. What happened? What happened to you? So again, when narcissists show up in your life, it's just the universe revealing to you, my child, there's still some self-hate here. You cannot ascend with self-hate. Because imagine this, when you're in the fifth dimension, you're surrounded with people who have purged themselves and done their work. How can you show up in this place talking about hate when everybody has already dealt with hate and left it behind? You cannot ascend to the fifth dimension if you're still tethered to hate. Well, because constantly seeking community, the question, Brittany, the question is constantly seeking community a form of self-hate? Well, constantly seeking community to entertain you and to give you company is because you don't like yourself yet and haven't gotten comfortable with being with yourself. Once you embrace being alone and understanding that being alone is a privilege, then you attract other people who are also comfortable being alone and are in their queendom and kingdom. And that way, when there's community, the community is not based on codependency, but mutual aid, mutual support, reciprocity. You see, I don't know if this answers your question, Brittany. Let me know. Launcey, I'll try, my friend. Thank you. I feel like an inner strength growing. It's sustaining me through all the mind. And as you develop that relationship with the inner strength, Lon RC, it also starts to reveal itself to you. That's the trick. You see, if you don't develop a relationship with it, you won't know it. Which Master General, there's a difference between self-love and narcissism. But to the narcissist, this tends into self-divinity. Exactly. You're so wise, Tammy. People pleasing into self. Oh, Tammy! Here it is. People pleasing into self-pleasing. Oh, can I use that, Tammy? I love that. Shift from people pleasing into self-pleasing. That is so wise. It's the most beautiful piece of my life. I'm glad. Veronica, they did. I detoxified them as casualties were left. Exactly. This is exactly it. This is exactly it. You purge. And when you purge, when the narcissist shows up, you spot them immediately and there's no resonance because they can't love bomb you. They can't hoover you. They can't discard you. We are Nox slayers. We are demon slayers, Dawn Marie. This is what you become. This is the point of courage. Because let me tell you something. Before the narcissist met you and I, they were undefeated. Before the narcissist met you and I, they were undefeated. They had never suffered narcissistic collapse. They were never unmasked. Nobody could tell who they were. And then you came along and said, after dealing with it for so long, there was an underestimation. You're right, Dawn Marie. So what happens to a narcissist when you unmask them is the worst thing ever in the world. They picked the wrong one. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to the narcissist, which is why they go into narcissistic rage to try to intimidate you back to sleep. That's why they keep trying to come back, Stina. They keep coming back because they miss the energy. What happened to you, Veronica? Let's hear more. This is the whole game. You see, Brittany, I like myself. I feel fully confident in myself and my purpose, but I feel like I'm a forest with only one tree and I'm yelling into an echo chamber and no one's listening. When you love yourself and you love your purpose, you don't have to scream into an echo chamber. That's chasing. You see, the whole idea when you recover from narcissistic abuse is to no longer chase, is to become a magnet. So there are people who want to be in community with you because you're Brittany and you're cool. So you stop chasing and start to tell yourself, I am worthy of being in community. And the way you become knowledgeable of the fact that you're worthy of being in community is that you nurture your coolness and your worthiness by doing things without a community. And as you do the things you love without a community, you find, as you live your life doing the things you want without waiting, that's how you find the people who are aligned to you. Exactly, Veronica. Poetry. So if you love poetry and you start to write your poetry, you will go to poetry readings. And when you go to poetry readings, you will find other people like you. But if you're just hoping to meet them online and they find you, it's the same deal. That you find the love of your life whilst living a life you love. At this level, as an empath, I'm talking to you as an empath, not as a regular person. You guys are good because it's so mentally exhausting. It makes me not want to deal with people anymore. I get it, RC. This is the place of becoming more empathic, which is rather than seeing people as demons or crazy or stupid, you begin to look at people with compassion because you know why people are blind. You know why people are toxic. But compassion doesn't mean that you're going to tolerate their behavior or be around them. It just means you understand them, but you're not dropping into that vibration of judgment, because anybody you judge is a judgment on yourself. Bo diddly. How do I say it? Bodhi all day. I love being an empath. Of course, you've earned it, I'm sure. A healed empath attracts other empaths. This is what we're doing here, Dawn Marie. And Brittany, thank you for receiving that. I'm glad that was helpful. Ego fear has changed. It does. An unheard empath attracts demons. That's exactly right. Unhealed. You're right. You're right. And I'm sure it was a hard journey, Buddy all day. What happened to you? Do you want to share something? You want to talk? I want to hear your voice if you want to talk. Yeah, usually you like to hear one or two voices, but that's okay if no one's in the mood today. Texting is fine. You see, this is the whole kit and caboodle. That you are where you are today in understanding empathy because you started to develop self-love. Now, what I'm talking about is not partial self-love. To actually ascend, I know it's too much to speak and I get it. To actually ascend to the next level requires total self-love, total self-compassion. You see, this is exactly what R.C. Rob is talking about. You see, but now you shift from giving it to the world to giving it to yourself. And as you give it to yourself, you become an attractive magnet to other people. You attract dark entities and light entities, but they're all attracted to you because you are a lighthouse for what's possible, a lighthouse who lived in the hell realm and found heaven, a lighthouse who lived in the hell realm and yet manifested heaven right here on earth. Your heaven is right here. Oh, buddy Scorpio, I'm scared of you in a good way. Life Path 7. Heaven is right here on earth. Just like hell is right here. Which one are you going to live into? You see what I'm saying? The two RCs, right? This is the game. Your heaven is right here. Your heaven is a frequency in your mind. You see, your heaven is a frequency in your mind. My question is, how do all of you all heal from going outside and feeling all the bad juju? You feel the bad juju and know that it's a program in a matrix. So there's a saying that observe, do not absorb, Pretty Shield. That means if somebody triggers you or steps on your shoes or rubs you the wrong way, or if you stand in one place and all of a sudden everybody comes there, it's just to understand it's all energy. So you learn to move with energy. You never go out of your home without covering yourself in white light of protection. You never step out of the door until you've calibrated with yourself and had a meeting with yourself, a meditation, a breathing session. Because the moment you do that, when you step out, nobody can touch I and I. You get me? They're still coming at you because, you protect yourself and they can't come to you. Oh, I know it'll take time. I'll see, Rob. Don't worry about it. Just be patient with yourself. Pretty sure what are you thinking? Dawn Marie, this is the whole idea, that they're coming for you because they sense that you have something they don't, but they still think they can get at you. And this is where the whole idea of embracing full self-love comes in. You don't go out of your house or your home or your apartment without enmeshing yourself in protective energy. And you can just go into a meditation. Here, I'll borrow from Kundalini Yoga. A lot of people create energy in their palm and have a manifestation and then rub the energy all over yourself to protect yourself. You see, this is the whole deal. This is the whole deal. This is how it works. So, Dawn Marie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the live. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I'm so glad you're here, and it's wonderful to hear your voice. Tell us, what's on your mind today?
what's on my mind is I was in, like, as you know, I was in a 22-year marriage with a narcissist. I'm out 7. So I got rid of that situation, but it seems like I still have these demons coming at me. They're coming from every direction. So the more I try to raise my vibration and go higher, they just keep coming out of the woodwork. And I just don't know how to handle it anymore because it's enough to make you crazy. I don't know why I keep attracting this type of person.
How do you handle it now before I say anything?
Well, I set a boundary. And when I set a boundary with people or establish my rights, they get very argumentative and like go into war mode with me. Like they want to actually fight, like people just very aggressive. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. So what it means is that your boundaries have to be even more stricter. In other words, there can be no empathy when it comes to enforcing your boundaries. The moment you see a red flag, don't wait for additional confirmation.
Yes. They don't like the boundary, and they come out just stronger, and they come out more. It seems.
Yeah, they come out stronger because your boundaries are not strong enough. Sorry to be direct with you. Because when the moment you're more gangster with your boundaries, which is the moment you see it, you don't wait, you don't give a second chance or a third chance because you have to trust your intuition. The moment you see a red flag, unless it's a work situation where you can't avoid them or something like that. But if it's a social, intimate type dynamic, the moment you see it, you put your foot down and there should be no guilt about cutting it off.
Yeah.
Because they feel no guilt about putting you into slavery.
Exactly.
And the reason why they argue and get kind of vicious is because they feel entitled to your energy. And there's also a kind of narcissistic collapse. How dare you see me?
Yes.
So it's the rage before the collapse. But you don't even want to get to rage. The moment you see it, you just have to say no, thank you.
Yes.
And exit.
Yeah, put protection around yourself because they're all around. These people are all around. Unfortunately, they're your neighbors, your coworkers, your bosses. I mean, you can leave it from your relationship, but they're still coming at you from every which direction.
Exactly. And the reason why can I just tell you another secret here, my dear sister Dawn Marie?
Yeah.
That they're still coming at you to reveal to you that there's a part of you that's still resonant. So get rid of that part.
What is that part that I need to get rid of? I'm trying to figure it out where I'm going wrong here.
As I listen to your voice, I'm just going to go off my intuition based on your voice because you are so kind and so sweet.
Thank you.
And it is your kindness and sweetness that is making it difficult for you to say no mas because you think it'll be too mean. Let me tell you, the highest act of self-love is to have very unbreakable boundaries.
Yeah.
This is all. It doesn't matter if no mas, Veronica said. It doesn't matter if they say you're mean or you're bougie or you think you're better than us. Those are all gaslighting tricks to keep you in hell.
Yeah.
You don't need to remain in hell. Don't be afraid of cutting it off because what's in you is greater than what's outside you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Thank you. Everything you say resonates 100%. You articulate everything so well. There's nothing I can share that you don't share all the time. It's so empowering. And I hope everybody breaks free with your message because it's all the truth.
Well, we are one, and I really appreciate you, Dawn Marie, and all your contributions and keep being connected. And I want to send you good energy for the weekend, yes?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. One love, one love, one love.
Thank you.
This is the whole game. I see myself as going and evolving. This is the whole game. So, family, friends, this is the story. I just came to share this with you. My narcissist looks at an express boundary like an opportunity, a target, a vulnerability that they can push. Keep the boundary, but keep to yourself. They don't need that info. That's exactly right. Good advice, Christopher. So, folks, I just want to send you good energy wherever you are. I want to send you light and love. And I want to affirm for you that your boundaries are worthy because you are worthy. Your boundaries are worthy because you're worthy. And the more you love yourself, the less resonant you are to narcissistic abuse, because narcissistic energy thrives on self-hate. So when you stop being self-hating, or you catch yourself self-hating or self-critique, that's the kind of soul healing, soul clinicking, the soul surgery that makes you less resonant to any kind of narcissist, even strangers who want to get narcissistic with you. See, let them know that you've studied, and they will respect you and bow to you, because the spirit of the most divine lives in you, particularly when you are a human who chooses to do good and not bad. Of course, they're afraid of you, Veronica. Do you understand what I'm saying, my folks? So as you go through your day, don't forget to celebrate yourself. You get me? Groove with yourself. Love yourself, because they can't get to you. I send you peace and love and light. You hear me? One love, people. One love. See you on Monday. Peace. Peace. Peace.